Ah, yes, another wonderful day in not paradise. Let's see. Nice. It's looks like a theater view to me. This is new. I'm not used to this sort of enlargement in size. But yes, hi Marnage. You are the first to drop by my stream. Hi. Been a while. Hello, late. Drags, a resident tiger bee. Hmm. Wow. I'm here because I left your page on. So you're telling me you've never closed my tab. Hmm. Okay. Ripple spiral. Am I stepping on something wet? Ugh. I'm. Yeah. Oh, what the heck? Floor ain't the best. Where's the camera? There you are. Hi. As you can see, we are over at well, we're back in Complex 7. The peeps are partying as always. First time catching your stream. Hi there, Ori. Welcome. It seems me having the whole one eye shaded differently is gonna be really lighting dependent. Nope. I made myself mac and cheese because I kinda never made it before and I was bored. I see. Sounds good. How are you doing today, Gab asks Fluffy. Clearly lacking in motorcycle time in comparison to you. I haven't ridden my Kawasaki in more than a month now. I just probably never had an excuse to go outside and drive. Lucky you having a reason to go hang out with other biker friends. You should hop on that. Unfortunately, I do not have biker friends. I was just working on my stuff when Geb started talking. I had thought I had the Geb AI for a second. And here I am. Hello, chat. Been a while. I'm downtown. Mm-hmm. Most excellent. I really miss this place. Wondering if the lights should be redder. Let's see. We move it a teeny tiny bit more. Here. There. Off. Should be good. How is our beloved oppressor doing? I'm doing okay. Getting alright, actually. I was half tempted to go sleep instead of going live. And, oh, excuse me. Whoa. And I decided to go do some push ups instead. Like, you know, when you're so sleepy, you're about to hit the couch or the pillow, your comfortable bed. And I said, no. If I succumb to the temptation, a 15-minute endeavor of you closing your eyes is surely going to turn into something that will last several hours. Don't lie to yourself. So, yeah. Luckily, I succeeded, and here we are live, and I'm streaming in a place we haven't been to in a long while. Good old Complex 7. Downtown. How many push-ups? I only did 30. Hello, Stars Wolf. Gem guy says, it really just got me tricked when I saw the message that I got sent A message by Gab. Yes, whenever I start streaming, it says, ooh, Gab sent you a message. It raises the anxiety, doesn't it? Hi, Axiom. How are you? Been a while. I miss downtown. It's been so long. Look at the lights. I feel like I've been cooped up for so long. So long. Well, got me motivated to do push-ups now. Good. Exercise. Vesper says, better late than never. Got stuck running after a corgi. Vesper, unfortunately, is unable to join us, chat. She has work. It's okay. She keep us company here as long as she has time before she has to go leave. What's this? Late says, I took a break from streaming for a little while. Probably will come back when I get trackers trying to surprise my 7 viewers. I started with 1 or 2 viewers. And it was that way for a good month. A month and a half, I think. That's when I was still a VTuber. And then I got raided by Corgi Cam. He brought 300 plus viewers in one go. And he shot me up to affiliate. My goodness. Wow, that little short stack surely helped me out a whole lot, didn't he? What's this? Oh yes, thank you so much, Corgi Cam. I wouldn't really be here as fast without your help. Oh, Stars will have decided to subscribe for another month. Thank you for being here for 2. Good morning, teaching. Imagine a whole theater room just for yourself. There's some kind of startup show and it's just a singular person in the back going, whoa. 1 person, 10, 100, 1,000. You need to treat them equally. You have an audience or not. That is simply the binary factor that needs to be considered. The moment you go live, you must always consider that you do have an audience. Even if it's just 1 person, that's 1 person giving you their time, their attention. Is your face tracking a bit different? Have I just not seen it in a while? It's probably because you're seeing me move around, Axiom. You're used to me just being static, sitting. I've learned a few new tricks in having my camera work, and I did promise more dynamic streams. Well, dynamic in movement, not quite like other streamers. Is everything wireless? Yes. A bland but better view. As you can see, I'm walking. Beautiful downtown. Oh, my trip. Entertaining, is it not? Stars Wolf have decided to succumb to Amazon's clearly not alluring tactics to getting their money because of the ads. No, I'm just joking. Thank you. I appreciate the support. Are you gonna join the dancers in the back? Oh, no. I already am loitering as much as I already am. I'm not, you let the locals do what they're doing. People walking in front of cameras. I don't own the place. I'm just another denizen of, well, Complex 7. Just another guy downtown. I mean, come on. Let me grab my chair. Go sit. Yeah, clearly just loitering around. Think of me as a guerrilla streamer. I don't know. Setting up my tripod, being that annoying person who streams to social media. That's okay. I love this place. Not just another guy, an amazing guy flatters Tichi. You hear that? I'm an amazing guy, apparently. Yeah, okay, you go focus on your patrols, yes. Ah, is there to escort you out? No, please. I've, sheesh, I've been here like a year now. They know me. I was like, oh god, it's that guy who always streams over that one restaurant in District Roboto, but never actually pays. No, of course not. Yeah, I'm sorry for saying, but you do give off that vibes. I'll take that as a compliment. Older, wiser, why not? V-Bear says, first live of yours I've ever seen, and I gotta say, I love the comforting, relaxed vibes you give off. Thank you, I appreciate it. I, again, just wanna offer a small glimpse into somebody's slice of life. My only concern is while I was heading here, I was offered by one of the locals a, as they call it, cafe brew. I think it's an analog to coffee being prepared in these parts. It was nice, it was creamy, had a mild metallic taste to it, but no jitters yet. Yet. Shh, don't say that around here. They're gonna get mad. Don't use the T word. No T word, no C word in the district. Whoa, buddy. Yeah. Ooh. Hi there, Embermont. Cannot decide where to deliver your package, don't you? Nordex. Hi. I just wish there was a quicker way for us to get into the main district of Complex 7. You would have to traverse through some of the more not so furnished sectors, if you catch my drift. You know, the whole orange alien goop and whatnot going on. Oh, don't even get me started with what you could hear over at the subway. That's why I don't take the train. I have to walk all the way here. Parkour. But it's always well worth the travel. Sights to see, people to meet. I mean, look at them. They're just having fun. Do a prank and accidentally install a Bitcoin. Speaking of coin, into the main district server so totally don't get enough mansion. Oh, please. Why would I do that? Have you seen the condition of their hardware? Decrepit as it is already. I don't think there's really any benefit to me taking advantage of it, nor do I want to. These robots are my friends. Mystic should know that. Complex 7. A little more CPU usage won't hurt me. Them probably. If you visit this place, there are, well, let's just say, unfortunate souls roaming around. Not every robot has the luxury of having a roof over their head. Some of them are homeless. And being homeless is a terrible thing. I've been there. Really, really terrible. Won't they get rusty from the elements? Oh, they do. They suffer very much so from the same wear and tear that we do, just in different ways given their mechanical nature. But just like us, they have the spirit of resilience. Ever so tough they are, ever so strong. They try. They absolutely try. To the limits of their programming. Tea, always. Coffee, unfortunately, is not good for my system. Even the slightest amount of caffeine sends my body into jitters, anxiety, manifesting phantom fears I don't have. As if I'm running from the IRS or a tax collector of some sort, a loan shark. Not that I owe anybody money. We need Beth to fund them a new home. Beth is unfortunately busy in his vacation. I wouldn't want to bother the man and pull him away from him enjoying some well-deserved time off. Coffee. I wish I could, says Axiom. I like the new avatar. Oh, I take it you haven't been here in a while. Well, it's been, well, 3 months now that I have dawned on this new face that you see. Oh, yes, I'm very well aware. $1.99. Surely you might invoke the Demon King's presence if you mess around with that funny number over there. Oh, I see. It's okay, Ignacio. Take your time. Well, welcome back. I'm glad you could make it. Not much has changed, really. It's same old me. Downtown hasn't changed its facade either. Hello, Waggy. How many people? Says, talking about coffee makes me want to make coffee. I have the seeds to grind rather than having it grind already. Ah, yes. That's nice having your own brew that you can prepare and whatnot. Coffee, huh? I want to see more of your kind walking the streets. Unfortunately, beings like me are few and far in between, unless you count the cats chasing each other on the streets. And, well, of course, our favorite robotic denizens like Big Bulky over here. Yep, stay around, pal. You got this. Quite heavily armed, aren't we tonight, huh? What's with the increased security, sir? Drag says I brought some Dominican coffee last time I visited the Dominican Republic. Well, congratulations. Congratulations, Knight. Hello, Mika. How are ya? I prefer coffee, but I gladly drink tea. Look, I love myself nice, cold, creamy, whipped creamy coffee, but I can't have too much of it in my system. Again, caffeine, sugar, not the best combination. Yes. Damn, now I'm thirsty. Well, nobody's stopping you. Go ahead and drink. Oh, please. You won't find me having monster on my lips. Hi, hi, says Rook Cuttlecrow. Nice name, befitting of a tabletop character. They say that it's their first time catching this live. Welcome to my live. It's the full-length version of my clips. Oh, I am missing out. Yeah, I wanna live past 60, thank you. Can I come chill with you and get to know you better in VR chat, Cap? Should we bump into each other? Sure, why not? Do know that I'm very, very, very picky about the company around me, though. If you're below 18, unfortunately, I must decline. For reasons. I'm 100% wholesome. Yes, a few jokes here and there, but I want to stay on the safe side, interaction wise. And seeing as how you joined the server and immediately left, I take it you saw that it was an 18 plus only. Oh, you're in your mid 40s. Correction then. What made you leave then, Ignacio? I saw the logs. Another Geb stream says Swordberries. We are in Complex 7. Downtown. Just chilling with the locals as always. What's new? If I could meet you, Geb, or someone like you, I have no idea what I would act like. Well, as long as you maintain a modicum of courtesy, then I think you and I will get along. Oh, yeah, they're enjoying their time. I like the energy here. That's why I'm, well, hanging out here. Yeah, it's a little cramp being cooped up in my office all day, so why not go outside and enjoy the air, right? Again, walking stream. Ah, yes. It's not every day you see me being There's a mobile, don't you? You stop sitting. Quite the rarity, isn't it? I mean, I do have working legs. I just never had a space before. So here we are. A bit different from the usual. No. It's the first for me. Welcome. Yes. I can be polite and nice, but I do fold easily. Fold? What do you mean by fold? Elaborate, teaching. In what manner would you crumple? Valid question, is it not? Shake hands like gentlemen. I love how one of your streaming tags is rice. Chat, you're a streamer here. Yours truly is 100% Asian. I live in Southeast Asia. I do have rice flowing in my veins. Hi there, Mo. Welcome to the stream. The stream last Wednesday was a bit slow, especially last Monday. I wasn't in the groove of things. Didn't think this is what I would need. It's nice being outside. If I zoom this out a bit more, what's it gonna look like? There we go. Oh, buddy. What is your earliest childhood memory? I was probably a few years old and I went and burnt the mustache of one of the gods in this Chinese altar. I don't know if it's a Taoist or a Buddhist one. He was a red guy, like Guan Yu looking fellow. I thought it was funny. Probably simply a casual display of childish impishness. The better view, I think. Oh yes, we love arson. This place is reminiscent of Southeast Asia architecture. Precisely, isn't it like Bangkok? Just imagine you drop the coin. Like that. Up and there it goes. Oh dear, oh my. Poor coin. How many coins do I have? As many as chat provides, but always a minimum of 3 on my person. One for the vendo machines, another for coin flipping, and the third just in case I need to buy some tissue paper for whatever reason required. Always have a coin on your person, chat. You'll never know when you need them. Toss a coin to your gap. This, chat, is my piggy bank. It's actually not just for September. This is for September, October, maybe November. But I didn't have enough space to input legible font, so yeah. It's a very big piggyback. I'd call it deep. Hi there, Chopin. It's been a while. How are you? School treating you kindly. No, coins are always welcome, Tichi. Kinda, kinda humid today. Go. Papa says it's the last semester of thesis, but having fun because I'm one of the graphic members for our event. Nice. The amount of times you coin flip has probably improved your chances of winning any coin toss bets. It's still a 50-50 thing, promise. As much as I want the odds to be in my favor. Funny, a few months ago, a little game I would have with chatters is playing Flip the Coin. They would guess love or death, heads or tails, whichever side of the coin they prefer. If I win, well, I get a few more coins in my pockets. If you win, though, you get to request things from me that I normally don't do on stream. And I do them on stream. One of the few rare instances an opportunity is presented to you. I know who can. I gotta ask, what made you choose that species? I'm not sure. I suppose I just felt right. In this form. Hence, I've stuck to it. Coffee is amazing. I love the aroma, Drax. Chopin says, exploring Art Nouveau for graphics, and I have a portfolio exhibit subject. I'm loving my branding for myself now. It feels so nice to make things for myself. I want to draw more things again. Should you finish your pursuit in academics, surely more slots in your schedule should open up for personal art and whatnot. Oh, you mean the horse racing girls? I've heard of it. Yes. It's a cool species. I think it's underrated, really. But it's also good because you will see Nova Beasts left and right, Rexoniums up and down. But Hydras, us, very few and far in between. Vesper is unfortunately about to start her shift at, well, her work. Oh, there she is. Hello, love. I'm gonna go munch on some honey. Make sure the honey enjoys. Listen. What's Vesper species? She is a mutation, an offshoot of the Nova Beast. She's what you call a Luna Beast. More slender, more feminine, definitely. Head not as disproportionate as the baseline species, and also she sports 5 digits instead of 4. Absolutely captivating, equally as beautiful. I like it because she's a Luna Beast who isn't dotted with piercings all over. Doesn't look trashy at all. Pardon, that was simply my personal opinion, my taste on things. Luna Bees are most definitely pretty. What is our streaming background today? Hello, Pierre. I must have missed your first messages. Welcome to Complex 7. I shouldn't do that bow like that. I can't bow. I might hit like one of the locals, right? Because they're like walking. They're walking everywhere. I'll just stay here for now. Where's my stool? So yeah, I'm downtown. That's that's the best description of it. Which headset would you recommend for somebody who wants to get into VR? Don't be like me. I bought the Quest Pro with zero knowledge about VR chat and whatnot. You can always go the economical and practical route, and that's getting the Quest 2. I'm sure you can find a free FBX somewhere, Drax, and it's going to look cute. Also, what was that? Like something fell on me. I'm probably one of the few Nova beasts that don't use the main, says Vesper. I'm just using a sleek hairstyle meant for an anime girl avatar. I think it looks great. You look absolutely attractive, Vesper. That's gonna be messy, Drax. You know how hard it is to go wash off anything sugary off like hair and skin? Well, to be fair, you just need like water and it's gone. Oh, yes, cat. Mind repeating the headset advice. Quest 2, cheap, practical, readily available secondhand. And then you go on from there if you want to upgrade to face tracking and whatnot. Oh my goodness, in the
Time to
correction
get rid
has
of
been
some
applied.
decimals.
Nordex, look at you being an absolute champion of the evening. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Finally, the fact that I walked was actually because I can't afford the commute money. The trains are vastly overpriced here. Covered in honey or pollen? I think it's pollen, Drax. Oh my goodness. Nope. Fluff is not gonna allow the heroes of light their short-lived glory. And so the decimals have returned. Too bad Beth ain't here. Or the reluctant hero, Let's. Nika says I went from a Quest 2 to an Index and then now the Quest Pro. That's awesome. I kind of wish like I bought the second Quest Pro now that they're relatively cheap. I need one just in case. Still isn't a headset that just is like, pardon that guy, that isn't like a 7 across the board and everything. I mean, it has good pancake lenses, the face tracking that just works without the jankiness of Babel, but not as high fidelity, of course, and less eye tracking that's absolutely excellent. Marnid says, Typhoon Ragasa seems like it's headed for the Philippines. Hope you're not affected. Oh, it's been raining for the past week and a half already. It's pouring. Absolutely pouring. Ah, yes. Rain, rain, go away. Also, one of the reasons why I haven't been able to ride my bike, Fluffy, is because of the incessant rain that's been going around here. Do you ride under the rain? I already had my funny slip and slide moments before, and it's something I kind of want to avoid. You'll be surprised how little friction there is between you, your bike, and the road when you're going at like 120 kilometers per hour only. Like, shh. Ever slipped on a moss covered piece of stone? Hi there, Doran. Good evening. Nice to see you here. I thought you were busy hell diving with the others. Fluffy says, rarely. I did ride through a storm just 2 days ago. Wasn't fun. Same here. Before, I used to relish riding under the rain. It feels epic. It's nice. It's cold. And then, like, I would just like power through the floods and everything, and like create a super wide, pedestrian, annoying splash. My goodness, is that Stars Wolf who just gave 420? I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you a whole lot. Doran says, I was showing VTOL VR to Fluffy. Ooh. Motorbike. I'm a motorcycle rider. Drives. Much like Fluffy. I feel like my light is rather imbalanced. Looks smoothie though. Hold on, let's adjust it a teeny tiny bit. Okay. Uh, there we go. Few percentage increase makes all the difference. No, it does help, Stars Wolf. 1 cent, $1, 10, 1,000. You receive my gratitude all the same. Because I know it comes from the heart. You supporting me, of course. If I am somehow able to entertain you, somehow able to make you smile or give you positive feelings, well, that makes me happy. How are you doing today, Geb? I was fighting the blanket monsters earlier, and let me say they almost won. If not for a timely intervention of 30 push-ups. Of course.
Decimal be gone.
And a hero, one of the elder ones, decides to cast a magic, and the spell is Decimal Be Gone. Thank you, Grey Whisper. Looks like you're giving the forces of darkness a run for their money. Also, how is your index? You received it not too long ago, right? Were you able to try it in VR chat? See how it performs. Is it okay? I've tried it and it's awesome. Fantastic. Again, you got a bargain with all those lighthouses. Gosh, I paid 600 for my controllers and then 4. Yeah. Lucky. I don't get motion sickness. Hey, great. I suppose during the next community meet, we can finally have you nice and interactive in game. Starswolf says, I get to be myself here, which means a lot to me, and I enjoy being on your streams. Uh, I enjoy you enjoying being here on my streams. Reem says, I haven't been here in a while. Hi there, Reem. It has been a while, hasn't it? Now, the connoisseur of long, gorgeous hair has been absent for a bit. I do wonder why. Where have you been? The blanket monsters are dangerous. Happy you were that remained victorious. Absolutely tempted to succumb to it. Let's go
Let me
nap
cook my
on the
food in
couch.
peace. I don't want to defend the decimal all the time.
And there it is. Decimals are back, chat. Thank you, Fluffy. May you never ever slip a gear when you ride or burn a clutch. No interesting story to share, replies Reem to my question. There's a lot of work. Adult life, you know how it is. Accurate description of me, though. Gotcha. Take all the time you need in order to rest and whatnot. Catch up on much needed recuperation. Interesting stories to share. I left my phone on the ground earlier while I was prepping for stream, and Flerai Sekai, Italian, lovely lady, streamer, Wolper, heart nose, pink, was on the live, and I caught Yami, my cat, staring intently for a good 10 minutes. I'll post the video on the media channel. It was amusing. Just such a charming accent. Nightwalker says, I want to stay more, Gib, but I need to catch my sleep now. I'll try to watch next time if I have a chance. As a question, what sports are you currently watching? Me? I don't watch sports. The closest probably is enduro riding, the whole Red Bull season with motorcycles. That's the closest thing I can think of. Adulting does suck, doesn't it, Ichi? Drax says it's uncertain if it's a good idea to go drink some coffee at 1900 o'clock. One way to find out, Drax. But it's probably a bad idea if you intend to go sleep soon. It does have its perks. I can drink coffee at 2 a.m. and nobody can stop me, says Reem. Nobody can stop Reem, I see. Okay. Coffee has no effect on me, says Marnage. To be immune to the effects of caffeine. Both a blessing and a curse. Stay around, Time Walker. Drax says he is 32 and unemployed. Thank you for that tidbit of information that you replied to a bunch of my chatters. Nordic says, well, no effect until you hit the 10th cup and then you can destroy concrete. If you say so. I drink it for taste alone, says Reem. I wish I were affected. I wonder if it's like to have a boost of energy whenever you want it. The same here. Sure, I get the boost of energy. It's because I start getting anxious over phantom things. Not exactly the best feeling. Caffeine makes me tired, says Starswolf. I have heard about the caffeine crash that has happened, though. So there's that. The coffee deities are rat down upon me. Coffee deities. I don't think Beth is anywhere close. He's not present. But I have heard of the Demon King's return. Beth being less than a week from now. I remember correctly. He has a flight this Monday, and yes, expect chat to be interesting again. Well, more interesting that is. Can I see your tail? Of course. Presenting my unobscured, well, the semi-obscured. There's so much security. What? There's no aliens here. They're down there where I came from. So yes, hi. I... Really, I don't remember there being this much armed patrols. Normally it's just maybe two or three security bots. Gosh, I wonder why. If Yami was in VR, he would go crazy chasing your tail. Don't give the cats around this area any bright ideas. Mm-mm. Do you know how many they are? He'd probably sleep. 100%. He'd just be here by my side, dozing off. How's my new place? Doing good. Those cloth physics looking great. I like how it flows with your move. Oh, you mean my... These things, my tail coat. An epic war of the decimal. That's true. Oh, I saw it, Drax. I actually have it. I just haven't installed it. Hi, Nat Yami. No. Oh. People say milk makes you stronger. Drink 5 glasses of milk and try to move a wall. Now drink 5 glasses of vodka, the wall moves on its own. Well, great introductory chat. Normal Norwegian. Oh, it's depressing. Why the long? Never mind, why the round face? Guys, don't stop calling them clankers. Call them what they are, robots. Come on. The other day, me and Vesper were hell diving, right? And then I was telling her that High Command gave us a report that the rupture strain of the Terminids are no longer present for some odd reason. You know, the rupture strain, the one that's subterranean, the one that dig. And then I said, I'm so glad we don't have to deal with them diggers anymore. And like, you know how wrong that sounds? So we don't call him clankers, yeah? We call him robots or bots. Some odd reason, right? These damn diggers going underground and you can't shoot them so easily, yep. Now you get my point. Oh, they hit me with even harder and sharper claws. Oh, whenever we have to deal with a mission involving a spore lung being detonated, uh, it would more often than not be met with not a success. Totally a lot of them. I could go on, but I'm gonna get canceled. Even though it's not the word you're thinking of, it sounds like it. Oh my goodness. If I was streaming on Instagram, though, yes, that would be completely okay. I'm so glad them diggers are gone, says Doran. Borderline unplayable, right? The rupture strain. Oh, such a difficult adversary to deal with. Pouncing on you when you least expect it. You can't prepare. I'm treading on dangerous waters. I do believe this among the sea soldiers and my fellow hell divers, the Illuminate are called squids. I still call them just Illuminate though, because I am personally a fan of calamari, or however you call it, squid rings. Delicious, especially when you dunk it in some sweetened vinegar with diced chilies and onions. Mmm. Ah, yes. Nice salt batter with some eggs, like an eggy batter sort of deal, right? Not a fan of like the potato-ish, the really oil-absorbing batter. But here you are with your nice big old squid rings. Just delicious. Hmm. It's that time where we hit our 1 hour mark and I outtab into Discord and see what's going on. We have Dorn, we have Nord, and we have Fluffy. And the same VC, my goodness. Headphones are dead, no stream for me. Oh, sorry to hear, Axel. Imagine you have 8 hours of a day back. I didn't know Fluffy had a wallet. You know, I'm surprised too. Fluffy sharing some of his gas money with a fellow biker. Oh, what a surprise. Peachy says I don't use headphones to watch streams. So here I am reverberating across a room, I assume. I have 2 cats, says normal Norwegian. Every time I try to feed them, one of them goes climbing up my leg. Ah, I've been considering having a second feline, but I'm not sure if it's worth the trouble. Now, I don't mind mild rowdiness, but keep things behaved, okay, chat? I'll steal all your honey, so not a good idea to adopt. Speaking of which, I'm curious, who's online in VR chat at this hour? My, none of, no, there is one of my friends, there's Matthew Sunseeker, Sunbreaker. I wonder what he's up to. Probably some herp. Not surprising. Hello, Canadian Alex. What's this? Ichi says, I have a cat and a dog. The dog is energetic and a 40-kilogram lab entity, while the cat is chunky and lazy. Well, good that you have both of them in a comfortable weight. It's late for you, isn't it? It is 1:19 a.m. I started not so early and not super late as well. At least I'm here. I sleep during the day. My normal bedtime is around 12 or no, 1 or 2 p.m. and then I wake up around 8 or 9 p.m. my time. I'm a night owl. Marnie says that I'm able to watch your stream precisely because I'm a night owl just like you. Nord says it's nice that your stream didn't start so early at my time because I had to go home and relax, eat, and watch some TV series. Right? Wow. Well, what's going on your end, guys? Ichi says it's weird hearing that from someone else. Personally, I'm both because I wake up at 6 and I start sleeping at 2. AKA you, Ichi, have a unhealthy sleeping schedule. You need somebody putting you to bed. Dream says ending in the evening and work again in the morning. Hard life. Gonna go sleep in a bit. Have a fun stream, Gab. Wish I could chat here more often. You get the rest that you need and deserve, Reem. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for dropping by. Cooking lasagna and watching your stream, says Fluffy, who's gonna burn his clutch. Combo I never thought I needed. Drax says I don't use it. Most of the time I use the flamethrower or a heavy machine gun. To be rooted in place while reloading and having to cycle the bolt as well. Ichi says I am unaware of that game, but I unintentionally trained myself that way. Now I'm unable to sleep any earlier and the dog wakes me up. I see. I shall be going again, but I hope you have an amazing rest of stream. Star Wolf, thank you so much for the support earlier. You have a fantastic day or night. Well, here I am sitting again, going back to my old habits. I did say I will stand around more. Be more mobile and everything. Oh, it's an honor. An honor, please. It's nice having you on stream. Old habits die hard. How versatile is your body tracking? Does it work lying down? Yes, it does. Unfortunately, I don't want to lie down while on streams. Off streams, though, whenever I'm with friends, people that are close to me, they will often find me lying down. Popcorn palace, stargazing, chilling in a stream, a small hidden nook far away from the chaos of the city. A reason the world I just find out of. What's the name of that place? It's in my favorites. I think I'll let my friends be the judge of that. I can never say if I'm amazing or not, but I try my best. Oh, sorry, security bots. Lots of foot traffic today. Mini Gib has been made. A rework. Curious. Is it on the Discord? Let's remember this is on your side. It's Beth. I have never seen a cuttlefish crow hybrid. That's interesting. Both tentacled and feathered. Just look at the people that have joined. Wow. Look at me being handsome. Thank you, Shopao. Wow. Sorry, I'm looking at the fan art category of my Discord. And of course, we have the mini game. Pototoy gago. Gago! Ang tawagin pototoy kadiri. Pototoy. Anyway. I don't remember naming it that. Hi there, Rook. Oh yeah, I was just talking about you. I've never seen a crow and a cuttlefish combined, so you have feathers and cuttly tentacles. I'd rather not tread on such crude and dangerous jokes, Marnage. I would suggest we move on from the topic. Everybody. Hello, Babalaz. Is that how you call you? Actual subscribe at tier 1. They've subscribed for 3 months.
Hello, here for only a few minutes for distracting myself from my upcoming presentation.
Good luck on your presentation. Remember, imagine the audience all being in their underwear if you have stage fright. I've appeared after my morning meeting. Mitzi, I can only imagine the density of the eye bags populating your ocular globes. I think you need more rest, friend. I mean, as hardworking as you are on your trackers and whatnot, try to get some more shut-eye. Are you still dealing with that horrendously noisy air conditioner of yours? I'm trying, says Mitzi. I just need to fake my confidence that I forget everything and freeze again. Axel, you can pretend you're in VR chat. I didn't decide there was going to be a storm last night that took the power out. Isn't that a mercy afforded by the storm? So you hear ASMR pitter patter of the rain instead of your HVAC unit working in a faulty manner. Ichi says if I need to talk to a bunch of people, I imagine they aren't there. Or I just turn my monitor off. Hi there, hi there. Nordic says, Mitzi, you don't think it was the god of thunder trying to give you a good night's sleep? I think Mitzi would be offered a better amount of sound rest if he was hit by Mjolnir on the head instead. Mitzi replies, as I have to call that AC company today. Good reminder. Get that fixed. What? Tarantella. You mean tarantula? A bonk on the head would certainly leave a headache in the morning. A headache in exchange for a good sound amount of Z's. Fair trade. Give me your best bad advice. Let me parse that real quick so I don't get cancelled. You can always reheat your Coke into something like tea if you put the whole can in the microwave and set it to low in 45 seconds. Trust me. Sometimes the elderly people prefer having Coke that is warm. Excellent advice, isn't it? Whoa, I just drifted. Strange. Is that a defect in the camera? Action says my roommate drinks room temp Coke. Oh, you mean Coke that's been forgotten on the desk and it's like, yeah, how long has this been here? Hmm? Mm-hmm. It's probably too acidic for the germs to thrive into anyway. So I'm sure it should be fine. Uh, room temperature Coke. Oh man. I fine with room temperature tea, but room temperature Coke. You are already coked. Yes, let's use that term. No, he leaves the cans at the bottom of the pantry on purpose. Ugh. Oh, you were talking about Coke. That's not what. What did you hear? What could it be? Listen to this. Badly. What Norwegian says. I have a soda in my garage. It's been there for 10 years. Probably best served as a de-ruster at this point more than something to hydrate you with. Ah, You need to get your mind out of the gutter, teacher. Dying Scout says, Hi, Cap. Hope you're having an amazing day. I'm having a great one. I'm going out to a concert soon and I'm excited for what I did. Some workout got me some food and one of the pop wanted to pop by your stream. Hope you're doing amazing. Are you typing on mobile? Well, you have a fun day today and good on you for exercising. Little wins. Keep them, celebrate them. Well, one of my closest friends has a similar situation. Yes, I'm looking at you, Axiom. Vesper says, so far so good today. A co-worker complimented me on having no drama and on task. Right, don't be like other people who intentionally stir up drama because they thrive on it. Uh, who are we going to cancel or harass today? What are we going to be offended about today on the internet? Whose spot are we going to stare on this lovely Friday morning? Don't be that person, Jan. Chapo says, I'm enjoying drawing minicap. I look forward to seeing him render then. I give you liberty in drawing him in as many poses and situations as you wish. Oh, I see. Funny, I had a little bit of nice cold crisp house blend iced tea earlier, alongside my crispy tender, nice and thick Korean saucy chicken sandwich. That's what I had for dinner, Chad. It was a nice set meal from this place called Bonchon, a Korean fast food place. $5 for an enormous, probably the best chicken sandwich I've had. Nice, steamy, juicy, perfectly succulent when you bite into it. I'm sure you're well aware of my quest to find good chicken, right? And this place did not disappoint. A mini plushy 3D model. I already have one. Vesper brings it out. He's called Nightlight. A small me, essentially. Uh, she likes playing with it, stretching it to absorb proportions and poses. It's me with it sometimes. Kind of cute, actually. Hello, hello, hello. Nice to see you here. And I walk there with no errors. I hope I can. Yeah, but I need your advice. Should I save up for a new GPU or buy a Quest 2? What is your current GPU? I mean, we have to know your system first. That's really cutting it close. Get something like a 7700 XT or a 3070 or something. You're gonna have a bad time in PCVR with a 1060. How many gigabytes? It's like six? 6 gigabytes, right? if I'm not mistaken. Oh dear.
Money 3.
From Wallow. Really? The Wallow decided to show support. Thank you so much, Wallow. I appreciate that.
Flirting with this disaster became me. It named me as a fool we aimed to be. Almost blue, almost touching it will almost do.
You should stretch as well.
There's a part of me that's always
Gosh, can't wait to go home and take a shower. The walk did work up a bit of a sweat.
that you
Again, still well worth the visit though.
I see in
I'm saving up for the M word. You and many others.
from crying.
Yeah, I played too much Tarkov, now I know too much Russian. I mean, are you in the bear faction? And good for you.
Almost me.
See you around, Axel. Good luck. Stare at your slides, totally don't think about anything else. I'm gonna let this run in the background while I play Pikmin. Have a good stream, game. Enjoy your Pikmin, Wallow. Thank you so much for the ever so sweet gesture of support. I think your character looks absolutely fantastic, by the way. Ah, okay. You sing. I have yet to go back into Tarkov. It's clearly not a game for everybody. I do have fun. I remember me and Beth having a short romp in it. We were promptly introduced to landmines. Twice. Six to 700 XT. Ah, close, just like Vesper 7700 XT. Sounds like woods. Exactly at the woods. Beth, let's go to that rock so we have a better vantage point. Little did I know. Yes. Yes. That's better than nothing. But if you can get a better GPU, you should. Yeah, that's why you bring a Sherpa. Ah, somebody who knows the game in and out. But me and Beth wanted to go in blind, you know. Filled with nothing but hopes and dreams and minted equipment. Only to lose them. No, I don't. You gave me a choice. Now you're pushing for it. Mm-mm. Saving up is a bit of an issue game. This will take me multiple months already. Well, if it's a factor of time, you simply have to lengthen your patience accordingly. Haste makes waste. Sure, you get to save 2 months less. I mean, 2 months less worth of saving. You get your GPU earlier. But how long is that going to be happy until you start to see the hiccups and start wishing you waited a little longer and got something performing smoother? What happened to my playlist? Ah, yes. You see, my friend was also in that dilemma. He was excited. He got this 3060. Oh, I see what's happening. He got his 3060, right? And, let's just say he's regretting his purchase. He could have just waited another week and he got the 3070. Nah. Hello, Ice Tiger. Doing okay. I'm still kinda on hold with the big screen, but soon, says Mitzi. I see. I keep on bumping into these fellows, don't I? Just need to sit. There we go. Gab, since you use the Quest Pro, do you feel like your face tracking works better when the screen is further away? Not really. Never really had any observable difference between distance of the headset. I'm curious if Intel GPUs would work just as well, says Nordex. I have zero input on that regard, because I've never used an Intel headset. Seems like the budget option, sure. Oh, GPU, sorry. Yeah, GPU, my bad, I got caught in the conversation. It seems like a nice world you're in. Yes, I'm back in Complex 7. Downtown. Been a while since I've been here. Ricky. That is something you probably have to check in the forums. Because VRAM alone should not be the biggest determining factor for you. I feel like I'm always narrowing my eyes even though I'm not with face tracking. Maybe we need to have it checked in game sometime. We have yet to meet and you showcase the face tracking. I saw you in your Norton Aspil. I saw blue colorations and accents. You're welcome, TG. Yes, I like it. You always have to take into account things like raster performance and whatnot. Sure, you may have less VRAM, but if your GPU can move data around faster, that really shouldn't matter compared to somebody who is 2 generations behind with bigger VRAM. But then again, for something like VR chat, VRAM is indeed very important. I'm not discounting that. Hence, I'm saying you should just save up for something better and not cut corners. There's a big jump in VR performance for me between the 4000 series and the 5000 series in NVIDIA. Do you recommend any movies and shows that is furry related or just have Antro characters? Digimon. I think that's when I started liking Antro designs. I was a big fan of Renamon and Gilmon. They were cute. Fluffy says, I did some changes for my liking in Substance Painter, yeah. Nothing special though, but I'm definitely down showing the face tracking. I feel like it's very good. Maybe just need some fine tuning. I bet it's good. I heard nothing but praises towards a Norton Aspel avatar. Gilman such a precious bean, right? Absolutely love the guy. Oh my god, it's Lipstick 83. Yes. And he does it on purpose, of course. Just like Lipstick 14. I know, same here, Drax, don't remind me. Let me just place space properly and bam. Okay, Norwegian, you're contributing absolutely nothing to chat. And I think you have overstayed your welcome. Behave, chat. I didn't know that, Drax. What's this? Baldo Cam gifted a sub to Tori Link Ninja. Friend of yours. Thanks. I don't remember asking your opinion on the matter, Dan. I see. Oh, what was Nord? Isn't it funny? Jazz is playing while we have the robots all just dancing out. Yeah, I know. Some people just like being strange, don't they? Oh, there, buddy. Smells nice here, like it's perfume. What says? I think you're best bet is to prioritize VRAM. Those 5000 series GPUs with low VRAM will function, but honestly, they aren't the best value. Yeah, they're not the best value unless you're getting the best, and they're still worse value for what they are. Only get them if you have a surplus of money. A hydrate, that I will do, Nord. I actually have a nice old cup of something here. Oh, nice. Thanks for the reminder. I appreciate it. You need to drink too. Wouldn't want a pruned old dried Nordic's doing. Hello, Dip. That's like a line from Besser's book. You know what's been weird? I've been suffering to more, well, more instances of deja vu the past month or so. Like, it would happen every other day or every 3 days. And I know, and it's like a memory or feeling that I've already experienced deja vu for before. So it's like the third time I'm feeling it. It's a bizarre thing. Wonder what could be happening. Good old noggin is probably starting to experience defects. Who knows? I think you will fare better, TG, if you go check the secondhand marketplace. Good value. Find a GPU that isn't too abused. The Matrix is breaking around you. Hello, Waffle Carp. I'm happy I was able to trade in my 4090 to something that's a number higher. Got a good deal out of it too. Gosh. To find a GPU that was actually SRP and trade in, it pays to have good connections when it comes to friends. DT says, no, Gab, I'm Dutch, and Dutch don't price stuff right. I've looked, but stuff is nearing market value, even secondhand here. Oh, goodness. I see. But best of luck all the same to finding something that fits your budget. There's a big difference between experiencing VR chat in 30 FPS and like 60 about. The immersion, the smoothness is just on a different level. Hence, I am insisting on you saving up a tiny, teeny bit more. The X3D series of processors has an enormous uplift when it comes to VR chat. Especially when I learned how to, I learned how to tango with Process Lasso, having everything on my high frequency CCD and just VR chat on my X3D one. A big 20-30 FPS difference. Really enjoying the chill vibes here. Exactly what I need. And I'm glad you're having a good time, Rook. Just pretend you're in an anime living in 24 FPS, and it will be fun. The thing is, low frame rate, this contributes to fatigue. So you won't be able to really enjoy your time in VR chat as long as you could have. It's quite refreshing to plop into a world where it used to run at 30, 40, now it's at 70, 80. So smooth, so nice. I should also look into optimizing performance in VR chat, says Fluffy. Constantly running on 45, and it's never changing no matter the world. Sounds like a CPU bottleneck. True. But consistent high FPS is better, is it not? Hmm. 9800. Yeah, you shouldn't. Strange. I used to run the 7800 X3D, and I thought that was the gold standard back then. And then now I'm on the 9950 X3D. But I get your plight. There is just some places which will not get above 30 FPS. Or like consistently. Rogue says, agreed. Chill and nice streamer with a great voice and chill jazz music. I simply offer conversations with a small sprinkle of jazzy music in the background. I try my best to be as engaged with chat as possible, because nothing sucks more than the feeling of being ignored or alone. You would benefit greatly going to an X3D series of processors, Nord. The 5900 is a strange thing. It's a dual quad core, dual CCD thing with one core disabled on each. I would rather. I would rather have. Hold on, I'm confused. Yeah. No, it's 6.6, so it's supposed to be. I forget. 900 series is pretty bad. I read. It's been a while. On AM4, yes. Gab is like a dad. Same vibe, same advice. Dad? Please, I have fathered no children. Probably best I can is be the quirky uncle that gives you not so good advice, but they sure as heck are practical. Uncle Gab. The Chinese always calls me Big Brother, Gab. Oh, teacher. Can you please tell me this and that? I have an account on Red Note, right? It's, I don't know, like almost 20,000 people following, and it's very flattering whenever the Chinese comment. It's such a far cry from how the Westerners word their words. You father a cat in a disco. You know what, Reed? You're right. Please. Time and time again. I'm nobody's daddy. Don't worry, the 5600. Hey, the 5600 is a very respectable CPU. It's kind of like the 1060 of Nvidia, you know? It just works, it's good enough. I see what's happening. You saw me like moving, right? So that's a cool new feature. when NPCs collide with you, you actually like you actually move. I think it's a Poyomi thing. That's hilarious. Yes, Geb just is weightless and just yeah, encoders. Yes, if you run one or run wireless on AMD, don't expect stellar performance. There are things with its encoder that doesn't make it the best of choices if you wish to forego the cord. You can call me Geb. I prefer it that way, DG. Please and thank you. It's alright, but for VR, it kind of struggles. I mean, it's just you and a bunch of friends right door, and you don't frequent the chaotic public instances. Older AMD GPUs, that is. The newer ones have much better encoders. I see. When you get shoved around, does your vision get shoved along with it? No. That would be very disorienting. Oh, why no face, buddy? Not doing so great. Blue screen, I see. Lots of depressed bots here. I wish I could do something for them. You have the happy bots over here. You have sad ones just like this fellow in the beanie. It's been a few weeks now. Any updates on the apartment I'm unaware of? It's nice and settled in. It's all furnished and I dare say complete. I don't think a hug's gonna make a difference to somebody as down as he is. What he needs is a recharge. Plumbing is fixed too, I presume. The one that shut off the. Thankfully, that's done, Reed. My goodness, I was worried I was not gonna have proper water pressure in my apartment. I did have to set up a small 1 HP water pump tied to a bladder tank, though, just so I have consistent water pressure all the time. It's a small 24-liter thing. Is that set up? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I see. How about you, Reed? How are things on your end? Hope everything is going fine and dandy. I'm curious, Gam. Do you use metric or American units? We use a mix of both. Like for height, it's both inches, feet, and like centimeters and meters. For distance, we use kilometers and feet and meters, but not miles, oddly enough. For weight, we both use kilograms and pounds. For temperature, we use Celsius. Oh, hi there, Blue. I'm at work, so I'll be lurking, but you may appear occasionally in chat. Well, good luck. You better earn that money. I know it's strange. Well, I'm glad you gave the intervention to the troubling co-tenant of your place and got that resolved peacefully, I hope. Yeah, the one thing that we don't share is like measuring in stones and whatever. Yeah, stones. Like, what is 12 stone in weight? Stone. No. I like my measurements precise, thank you. I very much prefer centimeters, millimeters, meter. I don't know what quarts or ounces are. It's like, is it a liter or? Sure, Reed. I'm glad you got your tune up on your truck. 14 pounds is 1 stone. I see.
Almost blue, almost doing things we used to do. There's a girl here and she's
Pussy, man.
almost you.
I love it. I just saw Shoppa's art now.
All the
Oh my goodness.
things that you promised with your eyes, I see in hers too. Now your eyes are red from crying.
Liar. Yes.
Almost blue. Flirting with this disaster became me. Nicknamed me as a
Sorry, I was looking at the Discord.
fool we aimed to be. Almost
14 pounds is 6.3 kilograms.
Almost touching it will
I'm 12.3 honeycombs. The unit of measurement the tiger bees use. Of course. Brilliant. Honeycombs. It's okay, Blue. You go do your thing. I wouldn't want to be a hazard to you while working. So keep focused.
eyes are red from crying. Almost you, almost me.
It'll work, Blue. Nordex offers some sound advice. Oops. Nope, that's the wrong button. There we go. Yeah. Those guns have no. At least they're not shooting. That would be concerning. You made me yawn, says Mika Stardust. Oh, did I? Perchance you need to go to bed. How do you measure in the US? Asked Drax. Was it football fields per handguns? Funny. Another lightning storm appears to have arrived. Congratulations! At least you get to recharge your things really quick. From what I've heard, if you add like a lightning rod adapter to USB-C, you can quick charge your trackers. Pretty bad life advice, yes. So you go out there with full FPT and everything. Wear your lightning rod cap. So it's an apparatus you wear like a headband with a coil around 12 inches high. You go out there, close your eyes, get struck by lightning immediately, 110%, fully charged. All your trackers at the same time. It also calibrates them. It's like a quick reset at the same time. Yes. Now, water ingress might be a bit of a problem, but I'm sure you don't have to stand long out anyway. I'm sure they make waterproof. I'm sure it's very easy to make them waterproof. You just put some potting resin or something, and you can never service it anymore without digging it out. Same. I wonder how come that's not been explored. Harnessing lightning. I mean, we have hydroelectric, we have thermal, we have stuff. Like lightning, all you gotta do is make sure things contact you. Charge. I wonder how much electricity you can get from a single lightning strike. I'm sure there's a metric for that already. And that radiation poisoning is the least of your worries, Drax. You'd sooner burst than suffer the ill effects of oh, rats. Yep, yeah, the radiation's the one that's gonna kill you. Oh, so we just need like a city-sized capacitor for it. Yes, big guy, go ahead, walk, please. I know that meme, says Blue. Isn't it that one badger? Hi, Burbs. Oh, see, Blue, good luck at your shift. Mint chocolate is so good. Ah, some people describe that's how I would taste if I was a flavor. Me, mint chocolate. I don't. I mean, there's minty, sure. I don't know about the chocolate part. I'm already loving the Discord. No, nothing complicated there. Just a simple little place for people to gather. Heavily moderated, though, by yours truly and especially Vesper. She's ruthless with the banning of people and undesirables. Same here, Lane. I'd very much just have my chocolate as plain old chocolate. Don't even get me started in coconut shavings. Ugh. Oh god, licorice again. You're the second person to describe me as licorice. Hello, Fox Carrier. Fox, Fox, Fox. Ah, that's the sounds. I've been getting a lot of strange DMs about people wanting to know how I taste. Obviously, those go into my spam folder. Bizarre as an idea that is. Oh, trust me. In TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Oh, I can't even read some of the messages aloud. There's a reason why I don't reply to. I don't check the messages period. Lots of strange people with strange interests about in the internet with no sense of shame. I'm not that sort of content creator, Chad. I'm sure you can find your lewd tuber. They're a dime a dozen nowadays, anyway. I found you on Instagram, says Fox. I only just now saw you streaming. Welcome to my streams. Well, if you see my clips, this is the same exact thing. Yeah, Drax, it's wild, wild place the internet is. So many unhinged individuals. Oh, can you adopt me? Can you be my daddy? I would be on my knees to do this and that. Oh, you're my moon and stars. Oh, was one pic of us. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love music fan. You're still live. Hello again, Gavin. Hello again, Pierre. How are you doing? 100-pounder. People need to learn some basics. Exactly. I mean, I'd get it if I say, oh, my DMs are open. But no, I don't have that listed anyway. But oh well, it's harmless mostly. It's slightly annoying, but pretty harmless, really. Pierre says, I have some boba with me. I'm doing well. You are doing more than well. If only I could have my mango graham cheesecake with boba drink. That is my favorite from the local cafe near my place. That would definitely be more than okay as well. Nate says, I'd say I like the type of streams Gebos does. Just normal, formally informal streams where we just talk. Yes. Yes. I used to do that. We have this thing called gulaman. It's essentially boba, I think. And then I would just put like 50 pieces in my mouth and then, yep, spray it at your nearest friend. I had to close my DMs because I was getting all the spam and scam messages. Yeah, that too. It's so obvious to spot a scammer. So obvious. I don't see how anybody can fall prey to them unless they're complete idiots. Hi, Miso. Hey, it says Walker walks. Walker walks. Walker walks. Guess we know what you do. Walker. Welcome to the stream. I'm Gab. Wow, it was quite an expensive lesson, wasn't it? Teaching. You learn. Well, at least I hope you have. Now I know a lot of us makes mistakes. That's the learning part about them, which is important. I'm walking here, says Walker. Yeah, I've followed your Instagram for months now. You've always give a side-eyed smile at the end of your short Insta vids. Pierre says, I have a friend who fell for it once, sadly. I have learned to recognize a scammer, so they make an attempt to reply with, hello, scammer. What info can I offer you? Going the route of sarcasm. I just don't bother and don't give them the energy. Mitzi says, I'll never forget how close my mom came to almost falling for one of those phone scams. They almost got remote access to her phone. But she called me at just the right time to ask if something was off. Good. It's a good thing you were there. If people wish to talk, I'm open for it again. Hey, you're in the Discord, right? People there, I make sure they don't bite. Pierre's there, Nord is there, Drax is there, Mitzi's there. Oh, uniquely quirky yet good people. I don't know about Drax, he's a bit of a. The tiger bees are little shits. Cute, adorable little shits. I jest. Gibbs Discord is great. It's really nothing fancy. Dorian is also there, yes. Miso is the invested kind. Because they love trolling phone scammers by coming up with an elaborate thing, like to impersonate the feds at one point. I see. You see, what makes things worse is Drax is not only a tiger bee, he's the fire tiger bee, which it's like sprinkling extra spice on something that's already spicy. No more chocolate for you. Pierre says, Nord, Fluffy, and Doran are all in the drive-thru, so it doesn't hurt to go say hello. Come on, Pierre, go drop by and mingle with the guys. Adding extra ginger to the ginger cat, basically. Have you ever bitten into a raw slice of ginger? Like, thinking it was chicken or something? Ew. I'm the Grey Whisperer, and I will make your hair gray, says Nordex. Yes, Nordex is a funny special type. You see it in the Discord. It's simply a denotation of his wisdom and him existing when most of us still weren't. Misa says, it's so much fun. You can come up with a fake name and be like, Sir, ma'am, your phone call is being monitored and we have agents surrounding your facility or place of residence. Up, if they fall for that, they deserve what's coming for them. I'm going to buy the bite acid and bite your tail. That's gonna be like... Where is it? Let me show you. You biting into my tail is probably gonna be akin to having a nice old long frozen popsicle inside your cheeks. Not joking about the minty part. Imagine just a tube of toothpaste being ejected into your mouth. Like, ugh. I've bitten into some questionable things. Same here, buddy. Have you seen my video about me gnawing on a brick? That actually happened. I thought it would dissolve, just like hard bread. Not quick enough. Vesper says, yeah, I'm not a fan of raw ginger. Good in food. Raw, no. Ginger beer when I'm sick, sure. Otherwise, no. Same here. As Asian and as Chinese as I am, there is such a thing as too much ginger. 500 IQ Gab. Don't give them ideas. Gabby, you should do that next time and see what the person said. What? That thing? My tail? Was the brick yummy? The masonry did not taste like anything pleasant. It's like soil, but compacted. Give it a few decades, probably. Gab, have you ever chewed on something soft and chewed into something crunchy? Yes, far often than not. So I am in Southeast Asia. I eat rice with every meal, except sandwiches. And sometimes in this rice, they're not perfectly milled. They would sometimes have little stones in them. So here you are chewing and then crunch. The crunchiest of crunch. Yes. Maybe I should make a brick. You know what? I honestly think you should. I need to see how Beth is going to react. Just put 2 toes in the brick or 2 bricks and a toast in the middle. Or a bagel. I give you the authority to post it in the food channel. So you ate dirt. Chaos for sure. I can definitely see Geb trying to eat a brick. I was young. I was curious. I was like, Mm-mm. No more bricks. I still regret the bagel sandwich. You have to ask our chef, Blue, about that. It's like a bagel sandwich. Uh, Creative, absolutely creative. Not delicious or appetizing, but creative, yeah. Man, no, I don't deal with those kind of things. Oh, Drax, don't even get me started. Skooma is bad for you. Moon sugar is bad for you. Stick to honey. Nordic says, I bought a candy bar once and I was walking to my car chewing when all of a sudden, crunch, crunch. I spat it out and found white specks in what came out. It was my tooth. Oh, I mean, at least you didn't swallow it. No, Misa, please. And we don't ever bring up that term here. One of my chat's rules are there are no talks of vices. Smoking, drinking, or prohibited substances will get you instantly banned. Okay? Well, I will not instantly, but according to my own discretion. Oh, I said my discretion, but Vesper instantly bans. So unfortunately, we just lost Miso. Oh well. She is not as merciful as I am. Moving on. Hmm. I wish it was a dream. It actually happened to Nord. Oh my. Unfortunate. There are things that need to obeyed while you're here on Twitch. Okay. Oh, the neck thing. Yeah, my. And I completely forgot to re-enable the fist bones on that too. Got it. That's supposed to deform. Note to self. Let me write that down. Tail. Coat. Collar. Fist bones. Yep. And that's all. It's supposed to deform with like it has collisions with my head, but I think because I was playing around with the armature of my Avi in Blender, I must have overlooked re-enabling the fist bones for it. This instead? If you say biker, here's something a bit more leathery. I wish your watch actually reflects the actual time. You see, my watch was affected by an anomaly. If you take a close look, it says 6522. Translate that to letters, and you see why it's set to that. Yeah. 6, 5, 2, 2. Get it? Yep. Yep, it's Feb. You wanna know why it's F instead of G? Of course, I'm not gonna give the answer. That's what the other not visible numbers are for. No. They can do all the guesswork you want. What was I saying? This thing. Oh yeah. Bam. Join your Discord. I'm gonna be playing a lot of Tarkov Racing. Enjoy the drive too. Shading is affecting my eyes weirdly. Just count it with your fingers. A, B, C, D, E, E, F, S. I don't have 6 fingers, I only have 5. Very standard issue hands here. From now on, you're Finn. Okay, Franks. Amazing. Bev? Bev? No, Bev's not here, unfortunately. Oh, well. We'll see him soon enough. Knowing Mitzi's over analytical self, he will probably be the one to start delving deeper into what 6522 could mean. You think it'd be so simple as translating it as GEBB? No. The first letter being incorrect should be the biggest clue.
Almost flew, almost doing things we used to do.
Oh wow, that's interesting. She's like a Nova beast. His 4 fingers.
Almost all the things that you promised with your eyes.
You said that her parents were affected by the radiation of Hiroshima. I'm not sure how true that is. I mean, Her mom must be pretty darn old to be affected by an atomic bomb from 1940s.
Flirting with this disaster became me.
Oh, buddy, you want to know how it feels, Tichi? Go tape your pinky and ring finger together. Yeah, you know. Yeah, see, Nordics and I are on the same side of the idea.
Almost touching it will
Great
almost
minds think alike.
There's a part of me that's always true. Always.
My pinky is broken. From what?
That you promised with your eyes. I see in yours too. Now your eyes are red from crying.
Now that I think about it, I haven't brought my community here to Complex 7, haven't I? Hmm. Okay. I'm gonna bring Axel, Dor, and Fluffy, Mitzi, to everybody else who hasn't been here. Yeah, including Nord, to Complex 7. You have to see this in person. This is what I would call an actual VR chat world, not just an exhibit. You go here, you're gonna feel like you're part of something larger, an actual living, breathing place, despite its mechanical nature of its denizens. Sure, Fluffy can simply ferry the rest of the crew on the back of his bike. I will be in VR chat for, well, after stream. Anyway, and it's already 2 hours and a half. I didn't even notice the time passing. I'll show you around if you guys wish to join. I may open a group instance after stream. Those interested. To those of you that are new in chat, yes, I host community meets every now and then. I say hello, hang out, and whatnot. We had fun last time. There's a lot of people too. But in order for you to be able to join, one, you gotta be able to be in the Discord. Two, you must be able to join PC only worlds. Three, you gotta join the VR chat group. I'm working. No, that's always next time. I'm down. There you go. Where can I join the VI chat group? Well, you have to search for it. Then you see. Oh, I'm not wearing my boots again. Sorry about that. There we go. I was so wrong about that. I wish you luck. It'd be interesting to see how you guys fare here. Do mind you though, this place is one of the heavier performance impacting worlds there is. Also, let's see clipping. Fix that. Clipping or is it the light? It's clipping. Year round Marnage. So I have a bunch of Blender work ahead of me. The name of the group is Gabus' Shadow Guild. I'm thinking of renaming it, really sounds a bit too edgy. Hello, Sarge. Organism. How long were you stuck there, Doran? I was stuck there for a few hours. Edgy Lizard Group. All he's missing is the crappily edited early 2000s emo. Yes. Yes, Soundgarden. Alright, now let's see. We have 2 notifications. I have no idea who you are, so I am going to have to politely decline. Chat, I don't accept random friend requests. Stranger danger. Let's get to know each other first before committing. As for joining the group, though. Let's see. Teachy White Fur. Let's start reading their profile. Anomaly, oh, okay. Very shy when alone. Somewhat shy. There's 2 mentions of shy. Alright. Suffering from dyslexia as well as minimal brain damage. You're broken up in the noggin. What happened? I mean, it's in your profile for everybody to read, so color me curious. Now, I don't mind people with damage up the thinking center, as long as the important parts are the one that remains whole. I have run into far too many individuals that claim to have mental problems, be it physical or not, and they use it as an excuse for their actions. You were dead, so you spawned in late into the world. Ah, gotcha. Is that is that Litz? Oh my goodness, if it isn't Litz. Hi there. Welcome. Glad you could drop by. Lag, yeah. So Teachy here lagged out during the whole round start process. Kind of funny to think about. It's nice to have Litz here. Unfortunately, the Demon King has been completely devoid of his presence the entire stream, leaving the battle to the minions and the other heroes of light. Hydrate. Oh, you really want me to go get my cup again? Sure. What back? Yep, delayed spawn, continues Teachy. Which causes things to not make sense, like learning English in 2 weeks but never fully learning Dutch. A little scrambled in the stat distribution, I see. Ah, okay. Cool. Alright. Thank you for explaining that to me and double check. You are in I Love Boo. You are accepted. Fantastic. You. What's this? We have a raid from Julie Jello. Welcome. Hi, I'm Kim. Did you have fun streaming? Did your chat have fun with you streaming? Drudiki says, Jello yeeted us through a portal and now we have a run. Well, welcome. You are now downtown here in District Roboto. Not exactly the neatest place, but welcome all the same. I'm Game at your service. Well, no, not really. I don't owe you anything. Tape began. So you actually tried taping your fingers. Hmm. Also, Gab, ad came in, so you said anything about me didn't hear. Good. Julie says, no, Jello, sorry. Yeah, I've seen you on TikTok. Your model is super. Hi, I'm sorry, I'm not streaming on TikTok anymore. I've decided to just stick here. I appreciate the kind words, but I did mean it. What were you up to during last stream and did you have fun? And if you need to go, please, don't, by all means, don't let me hold you back. I know after stream, we all just want to go decompress and after dropping chat somewhere else. Hello, Kidlin. Hello, Devil. They sure know how to throw a party. They sure do, don't they? A lot of fun. That's why I like hanging out here. It's the vibe, the energy. It's refreshing. I'm okay. Thanks for asking. Jello says I played some Uma Musume and Mahjong, so very Asian activities. I'm actually on my way to a doctor's visit soon, so I'll be lurking. I hope you have a fabulous stream. Now you have a fabulous doctor's visit. I hope there's no needle bricks involved. See you around, Jello. Thank you for the read. Anything interesting happened on stream? Can't say there is anything. There was a brief discussion about a brick sandwich that Toast was seemingly interested in concocting. I mean, Blue. Sorry, I call him Toast Sandwich, yeah? I hope so too. I hate needles. Also, Litz, I was thinking of opening a small group instance to show them around Complex 7. You are more than welcome to join. That does entail you dropping by VR chat. Well, for a while, despite your lack of full body. But yes, how very generous of you to include the crippled. You are more than welcome to join. Let's. Gab showing off his outfit. You like the whole Soundgarden look? I think the leather actually suits me better in this sort of environment. I have some blender work to do. No face bones to fix. Ah, it never ends, does it? So the goggles aren't on your head anymore. Nope, they are very much on my side. I mean, I can still have it on my head, just like so. It just doesn't suit me much anymore. And it looks even stranger when it's on my eyes. It's like an 80s thing. What's this? True enough, says Vesper. In colder environments, a leather jacket does justice on keeping you warm. Absolutely. I tried wearing it in warm, humid weather. I call it the sauna suit. With the amount of water I lost. That was a lot. You look like a pilot from the 1930s. Do I? Wowee. As a pilot, yes. I shall wear it whenever I need my eye tracking obscured. How are you doing in your shift, Vesp? I take it you are in your early shift break. Hence, you're able to tune in and say hello. Didn't know there were lizard pilots in the 30s. Well, much like the uncontacted, obscure tribe of honeybees back then in the Amazon jungle. We were pretty. Yes, we were closer to mingling with the humans more than anything. Boba? I don't see any boba. What can we do? There's a shortage of it. No break yet, just very slow. Oh, I see. Well, I hope your day is pretty relaxed. Can confirm, no booba here. I don't remember. What Abby was that again? Lanny. Does it? I know it has. Ish. No need to dox. I talked about the normal tiger bees, the fire tiger bees. Let's just say they're close to my more volcanic region on the planet. I won't disclose the location of. He looks like a snack with a dad vibe in that suit. A snack me, please. At least upgrade me to a full course meal. Make me sound like those cheap gas station morsels you can pick up for like $1. You're most welcome, Drax. Volcanic region, perfect for a leather jacket. Yes. 3 full course meals with the minty aftertaste. Dash lids. Yeah, somebody like screen cap that. I'm gonna put that in the Hall of Fame. At least I know I can satisfy a certain someone 3 times a day. I mean, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, like full course meal 3 times is. I'm gonna stop because it's starting to sound really bad without context. Without context. Okay. Anyway. Hello, Kuruma. Hey. Full course meal. Minty too. So even after all that, let's just gonna go like, minty. That was some great toothpaste. Oh yeah, we're talking about food now. Don't make me hungry again. I'm sure you can. That's true. Oh, don't get me started about food talk. We're already encroaching that earlier when I started discussing about what was I talking about? Oh, the Korean chicken sandwich that I just had. Oh, so tender and juicy. 10 out of 10. I'm gonna order there again. Hey, that rhymes. And some house blend iced tea. Iced tea as sugary as its reputation is. Let's just all admit, nice, crisp, cold iced tea when you're thirsty is like one of the best things you can drink. Ah. Oh my goodness. Vanilla toothpaste. What is your favorite meal, Gab? You mean like of the day or like something to eat? My favorite meal would be probably anything consisting rice, some meat, and that's like saucy meat. Right? So we're talking like um creamy mushroom beef. Like, it's just like the beef patties or like the super tender cuts of beef with a little bit of the shiny, soft stuff. And then you just pour it over rice with some of the mushrooms on top. Mmm. It has the same hit as carbonara, but with protein, not just carbs. Yes. Sometimes it would be like burger patties, right? So they call it like the Sally's burger steak. But instead of like gravy, they do put the cheesy, creamy, mushroomy concoction on top. And boy, oh boy, with a bit of sprinkled black pepper, you pour that over some steaming hot white rice, preferably medium grain and lentil or Japanese rice works just as well. You are in for a most satisfying treat, down to the last piece. Lasagna. Lasagna is okay as a treat. But if I keep on eating lasagna every day, you're gonna see me like bloat up. You wouldn't want me being overweight now, would you? Best princess. Oh, come on. I literally ate before work and now you have me hungry again. All I have is a granola bar. Look, like house blend iced tea to a straw. And then I do this funny thing. Sometimes in your drinks, there's like ice inside, right? Like tube ice. I would poke my straw through it, through the hole, like with the idea of it's probably gonna cool the drink even more as it passes through to the straw before flooding my mouth with its delicious chilled flavor. That's how I enjoy my iced tea, usually on fast food places. How do you enjoy yours? Do you do the same core that I do? Pretty sure you do. I don't know. And then sometimes I try stacking. I put one tube ice in it, right? And then I put another one. Now it has double the cooling factor. Genius, and it makes sense. It only starts to become sad when you leave your iced tea for around, I don't know, 30 minutes, and then the water in the ice dilutes it. And now that you can walk around, you'll get in the steps to keep you lean. So after each tray of lasagna that you guys gift me, I have to make 10,000 steps in order to, well, be able to consume another one. Lots of effort, I see. Hmm. It's not Garfield's dress. Hmm. What's this? My favorite meal, according to Tichi, is baguette, almost fully cut in half. Put a sausage in the slit. Put a sausage in the slit. Put sauerkraut under the sausage and cheese over. The image I'm forming in my mind ain't the most appetizingly wholesome. Put it in the oven for a few minutes until it's all crisp and you're done. There's something similar to what I enjoy. It's called banh mi. It's a Vietnamese bread thing. It's your very flaky, crumbly, soft bread, and there's like pork and all sorts of other stuff in it, like little dim sum balls. Hmm. Diluted. I'm streaming here. Diluted iced tea is a crime, says Vesper. Iced tea cubes, maybe. It's not my parcel. It's not mine. So, crowded area, chat. Anyway, an MRE. I have heard good and bad things about MREs. Good because they look great. I watched the reviews where they open it and this guy samples everything, even the ancient ones from World War One. Bad because I've heard they give you massive constipation. CEO says, it sounds very American, but I'm following. That French-American fusion. Hot dog sounds divine. Mmm. Hold on. I need to swap my power thingamabobs. So remove this. Sorry, robot. So, Doma, I'm totally not hooking into you and getting your power. That there. Plug that in here. Make sure that's charging so I can cycle it. Put that back in here. I'm sure he doesn't mind. There we go. I didn't notice we're at like the 2-hour mark. What is this? There we go, we're done. Thanks, bud. So, looks like we're in for another long stream. It was a very slow day last Wednesday and Monday anyway, so I don't mind persisting a bit longer than usual. Though, I worry if the people I'm inviting later are still going to be awake. Baldo says, I've been eating MREs for close to a year with no issues, though I'm not in the military. During some flights, I just have one in my bag when I get hungry at 41,000 feet. Oh, I would have MREs. Sure. But it'll still be open in 2 hours from now, because that's when I'll be able to get on. I am not sure, because I may persist in VR chat for maybe an hour, and then I'm gonna hop off, and then come back again later, because there's something that Vesper wants to watch. It was the pilot of... I forget, it was some show. And then you have to remember that each MRE is over 1,200 calories. Oh wow, that's actually really filling. Yeah, MRI is like the magnetic resonance imaging thing. MREs are the meals that are ready to eat, right? Oh, man. Yep. Whoa, 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 whoa there, buddy. Sheesh. Note to self. Don't focus on the camera while walking around. Where was I? Gab, how about we go for a good old coin flip? Sure. Love or death, Seal. And what is your wager? What do you have to offer? And what do you want in exchange should you win? Death is tails. Love is heads.
You promised with your eyes, I see in hers too. Now your eyes are red from
Seems to be a really high traffic spot. It totally is, Mitzi. Look. See, look at the people.
flirting with this disaster became me. It never
Bragging rights over what?
to be
I have to know.
almost touching it will almost do.
Sure, why not? See. Thank you for bringing something nostalgic. Alright. I go to a wager. This. Wait, no, that's terrible. This, as you can see, is a heart. That is heads. That is love. This, as you can see, is death. Our tails, a skull. So, if it lands on this, Ludicrous Seal wins. Correct. If it doesn't, the house wins. A simple game of flip the coin. Alright. Without further ado, so we flip. What could it have landed on? Well, look at the coin. Is it heads? Is it tails? Oh my, oh my. What do you think? Oh my god, sorry, index. That doesn't count. Ooh. Because I accidentally reflipped the coin thanks to my funny finger tracking. Let's just say, Seal wins by default. Congratulations. I fumbled and you gained the victory that you also deserve. Notice how my knuckle sometimes isn't fully closed. That's the problem with flipping the coin. Baldo says, I love your choice of dream bike. Really nice. I may not have a dream bike, but I have a dream car, the Subaru WXSTI. Oh, yes, one day per chance I might be able to get the bike. Couple of years. if I get lucky. But that's a very distant dream, not something so casually achieved. I still have not been summoned for my 15-minute break. Oh, glad you're still there. I call for a rematch. Winning by default is for chumps. Okay. Instant death. What did it land on? It looks like you really do deserve the victory. No suspense needed. Congratulations, Seal. It's been so long since I played Flip the Coin with anybody. If it's any consolation, thanks for reminding me of the fun I used to have. It's been probably more than half a year since the last time I have. Before, it would be every stream. Sometimes 3 flips on the stream. Sometimes the stakes were so high, everybody be on edge. Gosh. yeah, he was. If you really want to put chat in suspense, we do a coin flip and then end the stream. You end stream just before telling us the result. That's mean. And totally plausible. Something I might do. No, I'm just joking. I'm not gonna do it. You could make it a channel point redeem. You see, back then, when I used to play my little games, my wagers, you would witness things that normally you could only redeem with 100,000 points times 10. I'm surprised Seal asked for nothing but rights. Yes. That doesn't sound like much of a deal, Drax. No. I'm good. There used to be a lot of redeems on my channel. Certain camera angles, certain things, but I had to take them all off. The post redeem, yes. That was so anybody could make a funny screenshot of it. The people would ask me to go smile for them for 30 seconds, and it was weird, just being frozen. Like, then my face starts twitching because I'm getting tired. I didn't want to disrupt the flow of the streams, so they had to be taken away. I try to be as wholesome as I can be.
Can
You know-
you show us them beans?
Oh, that used to be a redeem before. You see them every now and then. Depending on the circumstances. But yes, I have a question, chat. How many VR chat streamers do you know can you call actually family friendly? Can you show to other people without them spouting the cliche negatives about one being a furry? I would very much wish to know. I can name a few, but I'm curious if you have more to offer. One I know is Fleira Sekai. Oh, 100% much more wholesome than I am. They are like the only streamer I watch. Oh, please don't. Surely you must have a short list. The pilot I wanted to watch with you is a series called Knights of Guinevere. Right. Now I remember. Sure. Of course. I'll make time for it later. Drax says, Zero. Either they are lewd or they make bizarre jokes. Oh, see. Yeah. Genuinely not really. I don't watch any other streamers. You flatter me, darn. I know some that are semi-family friendly, but they will easily talk about not so family friendly things. Okay, so kind of there. You're the only streamer I watch. Others are Destiny streamers and Kai. Sia says I've tried finding other furry VR chat streamers, but none captivated me as much as yours. Captivated? In which manner exactly? Constructively. I'm sorry. I'm starting to feel embarrassed. It's like I'm fishing for compliments. That is not my goal. I'm simply trying to know what is going on in the minds of you guys, my beloved chatters. Yes. Let's have you watch the pilot of The Knights of Guinevere. The thing is, most friendly family streamers are either too much or too little. So when it comes to pure family friendly, you're the only one I watch. So I have like a nice old balance. Fantastic, thanks. Yes, there's maybe a cuss word or two the entire stream, but I never say the F word. I try my best. Did you know that before I started streaming, half of my words in every sentence would be a cuss? And then I listened to myself talk. And I was, well, what's the proper term? I sounded absolutely not so intelligent. And so I made it a point to practice my vocabulary without necessitating the usage of cuss words as fillers. Right? And I'm proud of where I am right now. It's sort of like sobering yourself up from drinking, but mine, it's from those. You see, many years ago, I used to have anger management issues. Strange, right? Now I'm like one of the most zened out people there is. Because I had a catharsis about it. Like, being angry over something or someone is such a big waste of time. It's like, you know what? That's correct. Spend your energy on something else. You don't like it? Like, damn. Okay. Compartmentalize. Close. Shut. Life is too short to be angry all the time. Exactly. That's why I move on from things very quickly. Sometimes it's a pace that most people find and call me insensitive about. Sia says, when I first saw you on TikTok, the whole calm, just talking atmosphere made me stop and stay without much effort. The others are either too lewd or too ADHD. Ah, I see. I mean, chat, I'm no saint. I am very much a blue-blooded male. But I know the right time and the right place for such things, such situations. Isn't Guinevere a character in Dark Souls? The Guinevere I know is from a different game. Hmm. The pilot comes out tomorrow, says Litz. So no, I haven't seen it yet. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Is that why Vesper is so adamant about getting it watched ASAP? Because she will inadvertently run into spoilers in social media. Kind of understand now. I love listening to myself because I can see the parts I can improve upon. And I can also see the parts in which I've improved upon. It's sort of like growing to love your own reflection without dipping your toes into narcissism, self love. I guess there's what you're. Talk about it next time. I think one needs to emphasize how impressive it is to catch one's eye as a streamer on Twitch. I don't really offer anything impressive compared to the others. I don't have like these, and then I don't dance and whatnot. I don't offer brain rot. I don't offer collaborative cuddle parties. Literally, you're just peering through the lens. On the other side is a guy sitting on the street, chatting with you. I just try to make it look good. Ichi says I can't do that. I hate my voice and I don't understand why people love my voice. I used to dislike how I sounded as well. Until I started liking it. Like, Like, you can love yourself without having to brag about it. That's what most people do, and it annoys me. They're so vain, they would not shut up about themselves. When you never even ask the question to. I hate it when there's a conversation and they interject and say, "Oh yeah, bro, I actually have that." And like, yeah, my car is like better because it's a better in. They would try and one up you with each and everything, even in games. I find that utterly annoying. If you do that around me, that's the last time you're sharing around in a game alongside myself. Drax says, I think the term came to exist because back in the day, royalty used to be almost albino white, so you could see the blue veins in their arms. The more white they were, the more prestigious they seemed. Blue blood is a term for royalty. I see. Well, I quite literally bleed blue, so I don't think I'm incorrect in my statement. Unless it's pink or weirdly orange. Fluffy says I gotta go for an hour. Hope I'll be back in time for the little meetup. I'm looking forward to it, says Fluffy. Have a nice rest of your stream. Enjoy. Have fun. You can't pay me enough to listen to myself. Gotcha. Blue blood. Oh, it makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, you already are beloved oppressor. Please. I just like poking fun around people. People I find interesting. People I like. Oh, yeah. Hmm. My goodness, we are at our 3 hour and 15 minute mark. I'm surprised the stream has gone on as long as it has. Let's see. I hope everybody who joined the server has typed in their introductions. I'm looking at you, Seneca. What are they chatting about now? I guess they changed my break times. Got told my break wasn't until 2:30 this time around, so now I'm on break. Oh, hello, love, and welcome back to stream. I just I'm doing a bit of an extended one. Why? Because I might take a break on Monday. And then I'll stream here again. I absolutely miss this place. It's a lovely, lovely environment. Blue says, you poke fun of me often. I don't mind it though. I find exactly, see? People need to learn how to take a joke. So many people nowadays so sensitive. And also that's why I think most people find you cool, Blue. Especially Beth. Scales the Dorgara. Dorgara, huh? Hi. Too bad Fluffy isn't here. He has a Dorgara too. That I investigated and let's just say the face tracking ain't the best. Yikes. Jetan Elit has decided to subscribe for another month and they have been here for 4 months in total. Glad you could stay as long as you have. I appreciate having you here. Ichi continues, I love jokes and poking fun as long as it doesn't go too far. What is life without love? Exactly. And there's like tasteless jokes. Yeah, your grandma dying is so funny. Like, the whole room didn't laugh, man. And then there's actually like poking fun jokes, right? And so a correction has been done by none other than Anonymous. Glad to see you here. Thanks for keeping my stream not running so dry. I appreciate you. You know this. You know what I haven't seen? An update on the painting of that teeny tiny little thing you said you'd be working on. Something akin to being something akin to being hanged on top of a lantern. I heard it's just been painted black. My goodness. Anon probably didn't have enough time to or patience to complete the thing, or maybe it's just being dried. You know how paint is. Of course, Fluff is.
Still here to defend.
Oh my goodness. This has been nudged back into decimal form. You could quite say it's been decimated by the forces of evil. Are you just gonna sit there and let them win? Oh my. It's like I'm pressing. Hello, Zeph. I'm a force of neutral. Okay, alright. Gotcha, teaching. Oh. If I sit, I'm gonna start becoming sleepier and sleepier. So I do need to walk around and keep on my feet.
No.
No. Oh my goodness. That's such a nice clean number. 1450. Gosh. Never gonna back down, are we? Hold on, I'm just adjusting my earbuds. Kind of came off. What? Back. You still want to go with the tails, huh? All right, all right. I can entertain you with that. So be it. So, you want the coin to land on this side again. If it does, what's this? It messes up the numbers. So it has to be a dynamically timed thing, I see. Because currently, right now, Fluffy just decided to decimate it yet again. Okay, sure. Third time's the charm, right? And so we flip. I'm not gonna look. What could it have landed on? Oh dear. Totally not like waiting or delaying. Too fast, too fast. Oh, no, you clearly saw it. Yes, you won again, Seal. Unsurprisingly, this coin is defective. God, don't even let me throw it. Congratulations, Seal. Tails used to be a curse, right? No, maybe I'm losing on purpose. So I can lull Seal into having a false sense of security to wager more. I'm joking, of course not. I'm not that clever. No, I just plain keep on failing. Well, you have to Seal for no reason. What currency do you use in the Philippines? A quick Google search will net you the answer, and that's the Philippine pesos. Ha. Damn, Litz. I lost. I'm not cool anymore. How dare you lose? I was looking up to you so much, too. What a travesty. I thought it was only victory that you would bring to the table, not this disappointing loss over such a meager game of all things, says Litz. Well, it happens. Of course, you use pesos. Most countries that have Spanish influence use pesos. Mm-hmm. Top anime betrayals. I claim failure. I bet the next one will be heads. You know, I'm gonna do a free reflip just for you. Let's say this is like a $20 one. See? Still lost. Another one. At this point, I think my coin is rigged to lose against me. And finally, I won. Hearts. I feel as if I've been stabbed in the back by an ally I trusted my life with. You know, in those like revenge animes, Litz, where they give the most disgusted look to the MC. I can't do it.
Death strikes again, and I mean yes, victory.
Who was that? The wager. Well, thank you, wager. I appreciate it. Truly. The coin was rigged from the start. 9 out of 10 times. Designed for me to lose. For what purpose, I wonder. My revenge arc will be most impressive. Like the redo of Healer. Here it is. The game was rigged from the start. The redo of Litz. God, I have. Oh, no, stop. I have like this terrible ideas for powers. But I had something I'm gonna say. Anyway. We already spent close to 4 hours here downtown. I'm surprised you guys are. Well, you aren't bored. Save it for the after party. I'm half tempted to just take a nap and then hop into VI chat again later. No, it's okay. I do want to show this place to a bunch of people. And of course, Litz is going to be there. That's why I can't decline. Right.
Almost blue, almost doing things we used to do.
As long as it doesn't involve something British. No, absolutely not.
There's a girl here, and she's almost you. Almost all the things that you promised with your eyes, I see in hers too. Now your eyes are red from crying. Almost blue. Flirting with this disaster became me. It named me as a fool. We aim to be almost blue.
How to enjoy stream.
Almost touching it will almost do. There's a part of me that's
Oh, Fluffy with the heart. Hmm. All right. One question.
all the things that you promised with
I. Uh, Fashion choices.
years to. Now your eyes are red from crying.
I'm doing okay. Totally not a bot. Hmm. Seeing goes. How about the question? You've been asked probably a bunch of times. How's the new place and the progress with setting everything up? Well, progress. It's it's pretty much complete. I just finished maybe last week, and yeah, I starting a few days ago. I actually managed to start catching up on things I've been wanting to do, like playing games and just hanging around with friends. Something I wasn't really able to commit a lot of time of because of my renovations. Yeah, we got it done. Thank you. Thanks to the community for helping me. Hello, Shman. I will be going in less than 10 minutes, by the way. I think my voice is starting to hit its limit. I don't know why. But why does my throat feel more fatigued than usual? Totally not because I was playing Helldivers or anything and I had to, you know, heat at the moment, getting shot, yelling. Speaking of Helldivers, Vesper has been absolutely hooked by the game. I think she was playing for 7 hours straight yesterday. It's like like the only break we got was from having to eat food or something, or she had to do some schoolwork and then return to playing again. Do you have any plans afterwards? I will linger on in VR chat for a little bit. Gonna wait for my friend Slits, who's 100% gonna show up, and the others. Maybe Fluffy. And yeah, you should rest that voice of yours. I'll try just talking softer this time. That way, it doesn't stress as much. So pardon me if I'm talking slower, lower. It says, I absolutely knew that I would be forsaking my rights for deciding myself because Gab is such an awesome friend. Right? Ain't it fantastic? Hell divers, free from thought. Seal says that's so real. Dedicating a day to a good game hits different. It does, doesn't it? Vesper did excellent when we played. She's invested in the game, that's what I can say. Free from thought. Is that why you keep killing? Oh, please. I control not the bullet with 6 doors that start to think of doubt. I simply carry it. Sounds like me with Borderlands 4. I want to play Borderlands 4, I just can't afford it at the moment. All my money is going into like apartment rent saving up. When are we doing more night diving? I Let's see, this weekend I probably will have more time. I'll just go drop by the VC. Please, I would never purpose to take you out. No, I swear, I never will. I'm not a big fan of griefing, as they call it. Really irks me. I returned after having to commit to being an adult for a couple of months. Oh, welcome back. Hope you got some good money out of whatever you needed to do. Yeah, but I can shoot blue for you next time I do. Super good. What if somebody does that false handshake? That's why I never emote with anybody aside from Vesper. And if she does the same thing, I'm never gonna emote with her again. You have to blame Axiom for my mistrust. And I'm glad you're able to have some breathing room, Astrum. Oh, I'm gonna go drink some. What can I drink? This thing. Yep, randomly picking something up from the street. Conveniently made invisible. For stream. And so Dorian seems to be volunteering to be my agent. Hmm.
No wager needed for this one, 3.
Ah. A temporary respite. Dumpster. You know, Litz, that plastic bag. It has a leak in the corner and it drips on your like feet. And then yeah, that's it. You're dead. My goodness, Totally Not Seal has given another pound full of pocket money. Thank you so much. How nice of you. Here's a free flip just for you. Wager, wager. Look at that, you won yet again. With chunks of flies. No, it's worse when the garbage bag you're meant to bring out from your kitchen that you've forgotten for a week rips, like the juice is thick and chunky, and then there's like a bunch of larvae like spewed out as well and landed on top of your foot. That's the worst. That's something not even soap and water can wash away from your memory. The corn doesn't need love you today. Blue will be more than happy to play with you, Tichi. The one mod I do want to have in my Helldivers install would be the Portal Turret mod. It's so adorable when they talk. Yuck, you. It's. Yo. What? So. So it ripped. before before it could reach the ground, it's just like, oh my god. Oh. You know, I would go as far as like it just spilling on you because you can wash it out. But if that stuff gets in your mouth, Anyway, with me fearing losing more than half my viewers, as much as I wanna add on to the topic, like, yes. Nah. What do I do with my life? Bad life advice? You committed to a stranger who will step all over you. You're supposed to head off anyway, mister. You know what? Litz has a very fair point. It is currently 4 a.m. and I did suggest a small meet. Let's, I assume you will go suit up. I mean, by suit up your head. I don't know if Fluffy's still here, but I saw his VR chat pics and he was in the game. I'll probably be making the group instance in a bit. And then I'll wait for you at spawn. Imagine staying up late. Right. So with that being said, chat, before we reach the 4-hour mark, ooh, wow, okay. I better skedaddle, how? No, but I really have to go. It's been more than 2 hours and a half. Shoo, chat, stream's over. Bye. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. You will see me streaming here again. Maybe Monday, if not Wednesday. So go, shoo. The stream's over. See, it's just black. Bye. Bye, chat. Close the stream. Click the tab above the X, the thing. Look at do you see this the side of your screen where the other streamers? You click one of them, and you go. See ya, Tichi. Oh my god. So, bye. Stream's over. Come on. Shoo. Why you're still here? What? You're gonna join me in my little journey as I walk around town. Again. I'll be here until I don't raid out Kuruma, not anymore. It's a bit too much trouble to do so. So, yeah, it's just me. Now where's that one spot I need to be? There we go. Hold on, let's get this thing. Okay. What? Shoo. I'd like 2 orders of the usual. I have a bit of money. Yeah. Okay. So I need why is there so much more people? Thanks for the stream. I'll be here until. Yes, chat is dead. I can actually click the button. A crowd surrounds you as you order a sandwich. Say order a sandwich. neutral out the light. So yeah, why can't? Is there a force? I guess I can't. I gotta end the stream. Too bad, chat. I'll catch you again next week. Okay, go shoo skedaddly do. Too cozy to stay here. I have VR chat things to do, chat. I'll get two number twos, a number 9. This is two number 45s, a number 6, one with cheat, yeah, and 6, and then it has to like have large sodas. Is that okay? I'll just gotcha. Oh, what is happening to my coat? That's weird. Oh, I need to fix that. Anyway. Your orders are in process. I'll catch you next weekend. Come on, chat. I have to go. Bye.